Show you an example of how things come in twos, right? I kind of want you guys to think of things in twos. You know, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. You always, before you play three notes, you have to play the first two before you hit the third, right? And kind of technically, after the first one, then you're on to the next two, which is the second and the third, right? So anyhow, we'll try not to get too deep with this, but kind of what happens is, if you take the major scale, these same notes here are in twos. This is on string 1, this is on string 2, so 1, 2. You'll find when you change strings on these two now, and this becomes this pattern, right? Then it becomes that pattern, right? So now what's happening is, if you take the pentatonic and you start on this note, and it becomes this note, that note, and if you go dan 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 dan, right? You start coming back to your key notes. So the pattern, you know, it's so like just like here is like here. You'll notice with the pentatonic that if I go like this, so just like when I went dan 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 dan, notice here pattern 1, you know, right? And then you get into this pattern, or like this. So always think of things in twos. What I do here, so that's 1, that's 2, that's 1, that's 2, that's 1, that's 2. This, you know, this is kind of 1, this is 2, right? And you know here that we have here, and you have here, it's the same thing here. So it's 1, 2, 1, 2, right? So the guitar is very idiosyncratic that way, and anytime you have your octaves and somebody says, well, it's in a major scale, I know that if I want to use this pattern here, I pick my octave and the pattern stays the exact same, and you keep it going on all your octaves. And see how the two strings are always the same pattern, right? They're always the same pattern, right? And so kind of two. Now, being that you know it's all the same pattern, so anytime you want to race around the neck, and I can't advise this enough, you do the single string pattern, and if I go dan 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 on the single string, I also know that pattern for the major is also dan 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 dan, and do it dan 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 dan, right? And I would keep it going. And you can also utilize that on the octaves too, doing what I did here, doing there. Or you could also single string it, you know what I mean? You could single string it, and then now you're back to your octaves, and then you're thinking about cheesecake and having lunch and going out with the wife for dinner and whatever. And, you know, so you start noodling around there, because 13 away, you know, is your other octave. You know, kind of like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. First 8 and 13 are my octaves, right? So it really simplifies things, because if you ever get lost and you know the song's in A, all you have to do is get back to the A note, right? Right? So you find your octaves and stuff, and so they're playing an A minor song, and well, you know that's an A, and that's a pattern there. Oh, there's an octave, so utilizing this one string, that's two strings, back to the two strings, and underneath my pinky. And so now two string magic. You know, and you could keep running around that way. And that's why I can't emphasize enough using your octaves. So using your octaves, that's a great way to keep the same exact pattern going, as you can see. And as well, when you come, say like I'm doing a pentatonic, and I come to this note, and I know it's this here, it's this here, I know that it's this, there it is, and I know that on this string, I do the box pentatonic, So it's right. So I'm goofing it up here, but you'll notice on this string, dun, 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 then it's dun, 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 dun. So 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, right? So it's always 2 strings, right? Even if you play, say, a 3-note chord, you got to play the first 2 strings first. So we'll call it, I'll call it 2-string magic, I guess, for a lack of whatever. So with that being said, and when you know how to run all these scales up and down the necks and to get into your octaves and that, and you know that on these 2 strings the pattern is the same. See what I'm doing here, guys? You know what See what I'm doing here, guys? Because I know that if I utilize this pattern and then I start taking my octaves, you know, see where I'm going with this? So it keeps things very simple, and then it's a matter of what scale do you want to utilize. So we do our minor run, you know, and then you back home, you know, right? The children left home, they came back home, you know. So once you start realizing that, what you can do in one spot, you can now do all over the place, always utilizing octaves. And if you get lost, it's a great way to remember how to come back home. You might find yourself in a flurry of runs, you might even play some bad notes, but whatever, and you got to get out of them real fast. And so you better come back home, because that is the basis to everything. It's the building blocks to your whole foundation in your house, right? So it's key, right? Well, I guess that's why it's in key. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. And something else too, say if I take these 2 strings and I mute them, and I go like this, and I'm going to exaggerate these motions. And what I'm doing is like I'm screwing in a light bulb while I'm holding my pick. So imagine putting a light bulb in your hand and going like this. Bring your hand in and go outside, 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 outside. So down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. And it gives you that light bulb, like you're screwing in and out a light bulb at the same time. You're screwing it in, then you hit the string again, you're screwing it out, okay, people? And it starts giving it that slap. Right? It starts giving it that slap, and you can really get crazy with that. I can't emphasize that enough. Slap your strings, take your time, get that slap sound, mute your strings so you get a percussive sound, so you start getting more like a metronome drum sound out of your guitar. Turns it more into a bassy instrument as opposed to a treble instrument, and then start unmuting, you know what I mean? Right? So anyhow, with that too, you know, like a light bulb kind of thing, right? Bring your hand in, same thing. And that's why you'll see these guys doing circular picking, and it's because they're giving it slaps, just like that, right? And so I just wanted to share that. So there's 2 things. If you're ever wondering why these guys can race up and down the fretboard, it's because they know their octaves. They don't care. All they need to know is like, oh, that kind of sounds like a pentatonic. Oh, there's an octave. Oh, you know, oh, there's an octave. See, guys, I can never play a bad note, and I know from there the pattern. Now I'm back into my A again. Right. Right? Whatever I want to do, so it doesn't really matter. So I just wanted to share that with you. It's a great way to know exactly what's going on. And it's an idiot-proof way to never play bad notes. They say the song is in the key of G. Your next question is, what are we playing? Major, minor? They say it's G major, and you know that, you know, and right? I can keep the runs going on a single string till I want to get back into some sort of box pattern, or just keep going with octaves. It doesn't really matter. It opens up the universe for you. So I just wanted to share that. I hope this video finds everybody well. I send everybody much peace, love, respect. Always do, always will, namaste. And until then, keep your heads up and your sticks on the ice. God bless. Cheers. Bye. Peace.